So you're all aware that Corey Feldman came on the show today and made allegations about people that he says have abused him. He took all the clues that we gave to him and confirmed 2 names, and there are other names that he shared privately that I'm not going to share right now that are stunning. But I want to make sure that the people who he has firsthand knowledge of that he alleges abused him are at least known about by more people, so people can decide if they want to be careful. And Jon Grissom is the real name that we've been able to decipher so far. Denise, you're our legal counsel. I've asked you to investigate this, so help me and everybody else understand what we know about this guy and whether or not people are at risk because of him potentially.
Right. So through our investigation, what we learned is that he is in America. He's not in Mexico, like Corey thought.
Yeah, Corey said he was in Mexico.
He thought he was. I think it was based on one of his postings, which was probably to lead the authorities to believing that he was in Mexico. But from what we've gathered, we think he's here, possibly in Riverside, California somewhere. We know as early as this month, or October, that he had an address in Riverside, California. So we've been looking into that. We haven't narrowed it down yet. But the public should be concerned because this guy has an extensive arrest record. Everything from assault, theft, drugs. Right now, yeah.
So pretty graphic images.
It is. He's currently in violation of reporting because in 2001, he was arrested on child molestation charges. There was a jury trial. He was found guilty in 2003. He served time in prison.
For child molestation?
For child molestation. Yeah. It's pretty serious stuff.
These are images off his social media page.
Off of an old MySpace page that we found. And there are pictures, like Corey said, of him on there, which is what concerns him the most. He feels he's being taunted by those pictures that this guy has posted.
What's this thick document
That's
here?
his arrest record.
This whole thing is arrest record?
Yeah.
How many
Like
pages,
I said,
how many pages is the arrest
it's multiple
record?
pages, and this is only a portion of it. He's currently required to register in California under what's called Megan's Law when you're a sex offender. He hasn't registered. He's in violation. We found that out. He's also on probation, we believe, on drug charges. And sometime in 2014, the authorities haven't been able to find him since 2014. So he's currently a fugitive from justice.
For 3 years?
Yeah.
So a guy who's a convicted pedophile,
Correct.
who's being alleged against that he did it to Corey Feldman when he was only 14, how does that happen? How come law enforcement doesn't go after him if he's been missing for 3 years?
Well, he served his time on the molestation charges,
right, but
he's required to register. I don't think that they have the kind of money and resources that are necessary to go in and find everyone that's failed to register. It's a voluntary thing that you're supposed to do under Megan's Law. You're required, but if they don't, it's really hard for the authorities to go after every single person that hasn't registered. So, if he gets picked up or arrested on some petty charge, they'll see that he's a registered sex offender who hasn't reported.
So for the average person watching right now, if they live in Riverside, California, frankly, anywhere in this country, because the guy could be anywhere, what should they do if they see Jon Grissom?
Report it to the police. Call the police, whatever county you're in, whatever state you're in. I think Corey was under the mistaken impression that this happened such a long time ago that no one would care, that the statute of limitations have run. But states have really focused on child abuse and child molestation, and they take it seriously. They have laws where if you report it and they can independently corroborate it, they will go after and press charges against the person. You know, it's really difficult because when you're young, you don't know what to do. Right. Most laws have it so that by the time you turn 18, you have to report. In California, it's pretty lenient. You have 10 years after that, so until you're 29. But even if you don't report at 29, if you report at any time and the police are able to independently verify the evidence that you've presented, they're likely to go after the person.
Yeah, I was impressed when I called the LAPD. First of all, they answered the phone.
They were amazing. They were amazing.
Really, kudos to you guys. They answered the phone. They actually were curious about what was happening. They gave us a lot of advice about what they could and couldn't do. We didn't shoot this, film it, because some of it was controversial, so we wanted people to to understand at home that we're not going to show stuff to you that it would either compromise Corey or the LAPD, but it allows them to actually go and sort of nudge the system in the right direction, so at least no one's at risk. And that was the big reason I think Corey, and I got to give him credit for this, was willing to talk. Yeah. He didn't want to make a big spectacle about it. He wanted to come and talk in private to the LAPD and make sure they knew that. And I think at the end of the day, it mattered to him that the other young men were not at risk. Young boys were not at risk. So anyway, Jon Grissom, you know his name. We'll be talking about him, a fair amount to make sure that he's not able to hurt anybody else. And I do believe it's the right thing to do to at least make him comply with the law as it's currently written. There's no
I
reason to
agree.
be walking around 3 years as a fugitive.
I agree.
All right. Thanks, Denise.
You're
Nice
welcome.
job.